Michelle Torrio, and this is the Be Mindful podcast. Hello, and welcome back to the Be Mindful podcast, or welcome if this is your first time here. And of course, I gotta say, Happy New Year. Happy 2026. Can you believe it? Can you believe that 2025 went by this quickly? The growth, the learnings, like so much has happened. And the last time I posted on this podcast was December of 2024. And when I'm recording this right now, it's December 2025 on New Year's Eve. And I've changed so much. The end of 2024, I thought I was going to be fully posting and just really in it, but it was really difficult. Me and my husband manifested one of our biggest dreams, and that was our home. We have been working so hard to own a home, and we received it in December of 2024. And moving is a lot. I had a lot going on, and it felt like 2025 really needed to be the year of me living and being present with my goals that I've achieved. That's what it was. 2025 was a year of slowness. I was able to really live in the gratitude of all the blessings that God had given me. And I'm so grateful for it. I prayed more and I truly learned how to not be so on the go. So, for my first episode back, it felt only right to share these learnings so you can do the same by reflecting on your year to see what habits or beliefs you are ready to let go of and new ones you may want to start creating. Maybe some of these will be relatable or maybe not, but as I always say, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Now, before we get into the episode, I do want to share with you a personal realization I had, and it's also a big part of why I wanted to record this episode as well. I realized that I am literally living a life I was dreaming about. I've asked God over and over, when, just when will it be my turn? He answered those prayers in 2024. And in 2025, I asked him to help me keep these blessings. And I had a gut feeling that I needed to stop my one-on-one coaching for just a moment and needed to stop my podcast and stop creating content overall. I just had a strong feeling that I needed to take a step back. And God needed me to see that. He needed me to slow down for a bit to really focus on other things in my life, because you can't focus on one thing if your mind is in so many different places and you're trying to put an effort in all those different buckets. You won't move as quickly as you want to because you can't focus on what's really important. I had to really learn that it was safe to be present and take things slower. And with that, as the year went on, I recognized my time to come back would be soon. And right now is when I felt was the exact time. So if you're feeling stuck or stagnant or like you have no idea what to do as you work on your goals when you step into 2026, or maybe that's just a sign you have to step back to reflect. Well, whether you're feeling this way or not, my goal is to provide value so you can leave feeling inspired to become the best version of yourself. We are going to talk about the ends of 2026 and what we are leaving out of 2026. So first, let's go over what we are leaving and not bringing with us into 2026. The first one that we are leaving in 2026 is to stop fucking complaining. And also, if you don't like cussing, I'm sorry, but this is the wrong podcast for you. I may cuss here and there when I'm excited or just wanting to emphasize something. So when I come on this podcast, I just want to be authentically me and talk how I would with my best friends. So that's how we're going to go with it. So yes, stop fucking complaining. There is no point in complaining. It just drains our energy. The reason why I wanted to share this is because I myself had my own realization that I needed to stop complaining about certain things. And I kept complaining to my husband how I wanted to get up earlier, I wanted to do certain things, but just how hard it is. But I just needed to shut up and stop complaining and just do it. Like, why complain? It's harder to live a life you don't want than to get up and do things that actually benefit you. I have a family member who wakes up every single day, I think around 5 a.m., not just the weekdays, but even on the weekends. And he does not complain. He's been doing this for years. He gets up, he goes to the gym, and he just goes along his day. And it's very inspiring. I honestly do not want to wake up 5 a.m. every single day, but it is really inspiring to see someone do that and do it without complaining. So if you're going to complain about anything, just shut up and do something about it. I know it's easier said than done, but it's really a mindset shift. It's reminding yourself that, you can control your life, you can control your actions, so might as well do something about it. Okay, so for the next thing that we're going to be leaving in 2025 and no longer bringing into 2026 is messiness, putting things away right after using it. So don't get me wrong, I'm not a dirty person. I'm very, I'm like fairly clean, okay? And my husband is actually very, very clean, where he wants to make our house look like no one lives here, honestly. And he's also really good at putting things away immediately. So, for example, every time we go on a trip and we come back home, he is that person that will unpack everything and put everything away immediately, which obviously makes sense. But maybe for some of you, you do that as well. But I used to be the type of person where I would come home and I would just unpack a few things and then kind of leave it there in the corner. I no longer do that when we come back from trips, thanks to my husband influencing me. But sometimes I take out things and I don't put it away right away. And that's not with everything, but I want to start putting everything away immediately. I'm still working on this, but this year I really want to be intentional because when you have a clean and clear space, that means your mind is more clear. And just knowing how I am, when I see things next to me that I know I need to put away, it totally gives me anxiety. So we're not going to go through that anymore. I am going to be intentional with the stuff that I use and constantly put it away. Since it's been a year of living in our new home, everything is way more organized than it needs to be. It was a lot of clutter for a while, which was really difficult to live with. But now it feels like everything has its own place. And that is going to segue me into the next thing that I do not want to bring into 2026. And that is impulse buying or just buying junk. So, like I said, everything in my house pretty much has its own space, and I want it to be that way. I always want to know where things are in my house, and I don't want to have like a junk drawer or anything like that. This is something that I've been doing for the last year and going to continue in 2026. And what I did when I wanted to buy something is that I added it to a list. And if I wanted it a month or two later, I ended up buying it, or I just started saving for it on the side. I used to buy things just because they were cute or thought it would just make my life easier, but really, I wasn't thinking of how it really benefited my life and also where it would go. People tend to overbuy, and I'm not about that. I want everything I have in my home to have its own place, and that is going to be the goal for this year, especially now that things are way more organized. It'll be a little bit easier knowing where I want things to go. Another thing that I am not bringing into 2026 is doom scrolling. So, this is something that I have already been working on. Like, I love TikTok, I love Instagram, I love going on social media, especially to watch people that bring me joy and also just check up on family and friends. But I have set limits on these apps. So basically, what happens is when you set a limit, your phone will have a pop up and it'll tell you, like, hey, you have 5 more minutes on TikTok. And it's honestly such a lifesaver because it's like, oh, shoot, I've been on for this long. So it's really a great reminder to not be on my phone so much. And I highly recommend you set that for yourself if you are someone that is trying to stop doom scrolling too much. Another thing that's been really helpful for me is replacing scrolling with something else. So if I notice I am starting to doom scroll, putting my phone away and grabbing a book, I've been trying to do that instead. I could be better at it. Another thing that I've actually been doing is playing chess. So I play chess on an app that's literally called Chess, and I do that instead. That way I'm just doing something that's beneficial for my brain and not just scrolling away. Now, let's talk about the ends of 2026 and what we are bringing with us. And the first one that is most important to me is more prayer and meditation. It's a practice of silence with yourself and God. And I just recommend you take even like 5 minutes out of your day or less than that, whatever works for you, to just have some quiet time and pray or meditate, whatever works for you. For me, I start every morning and it's just so peaceful and a great way for me to start my day. It also gets me in the right mindset. I just immediately wake up and I thank God for everything that He has given me and I ask Him to guide me through the day. My prayer is pretty similar almost every day. And then later, sometimes I just pray again just because I want to. And with prayer and meditation, this is a moment for you to be still. Being still is something not many of us have, but we can set the intention to do it daily. It's so good for us. It has so many benefits to being still and to letting your mind quiet down. And also, just if you are someone that believes in God and you also enjoy prayer, like, trust me, it is a moment for you to let go of the things that you're stressing about and let God just take the wheel. Trust me when I say He's got you. The next thing that is in for 2026 is following the plan, not the mood. This is something that I have been saying to myself the last couple months, and it has been such a game changer for me. So, remember when I was mentioning how I was complaining to my husband about like waking up early and doing certain things? Well, when we had that conversation, like he was the one that was helping me realize, like, hey, you complain about this and like you say this a lot, but you're not doing it. There's also this creator, her name is Olivia Owasa, I believe. I'm so sorry if I say that wrong, but she was saying this in her TikToks because she wakes up at 4 a.m. every day, I think every weekday, to create content before her full-time job. And that made me realize, like, okay, this girl does not work remote. She works the exact same hours, full-time hours as me, and she is still showing up for herself. And the moment she said, follow the plan, not the mood, it made me realize, like, okay, this is totally my mantra. Like, this is what I'm going to use moving forward. And it's so good for your brain to teach yourself, like, yes, follow plan, not the mood. And I'm also not saying to do it if you're like feeling horrible and you're feeling sick. It's just that motivation doesn't stay with us forever. So anytime I wanted to complain or I didn't want to do what I was planning to do, I always tell myself, follow the plan, not the mood. And when you follow the plan, you're also benefiting your brain because you're allowing dopamine to be released. Dopamine is part of your brain's reward system. So it's kind of like when you check a box after finishing a task done, dopamine is released and it's so good for you. It's good for your mood, your memory, your attention. So, highly recommend using that mantra in 2026 because it'll probably help you to get things done because it's really been so impactful for me. The next thing that I'm going to be bringing into 2026 is intentional eating. Now, this is something that I already do, but I felt like it was important to share just because, from my experience with food, I've honestly had a battle with it. It wasn't really the best relationship. And I also used to suffer with body dysmorphia. That is something that I truly believe that I have overcame. And yes, there are days where I still struggle with like how I look, but overall, I feel like I am physically and mentally healthy, and a lot of it has to do with the food that I eat because I've been so intentional. I don't believe in diets just because when you diet, it's kind of for a period of time. Because I personally believe that eating what's best for your body and also eating based on your lifestyle is the best way. Because why not eat in a way that benefits your lifestyle and also helps you achieve maybe the physical goals that you're looking for? I don't want to tell anyone what they should and shouldn't eat because I am not a nutritionist, but I do want to say that every body is different. Everyone is different. So if me and one other person eats exactly the same way, it does not mean that we're going to have the same results. However, I do want to say too that it's very important to provide yourself with the nutrients that you need. I recently learned that there are certain foods that can increase your dopamine, that can increase your serotonin, and I never really done research on that. So that's something that I'm going to look more into this year because I want to see where I can benefit my own hormones based on the foods I eat. I think that understanding the foods that can really benefit our health is such a win. And there's so much that we can learn about ourselves and what benefits us. So I highly recommend you look into that. And if you need to, of course, like go to your doctor or work with a nutritionist. But there's no perfect way to eat. And when you're intentional with the foods that you eat, you create a better and healthier lifestyle because you're not forcing anything. So, the last thing that I want to bring into 2026 is 10K walks daily, as much as I can. I don't know if I can do that every single day, but I do want to walk at least 10K 4 to 5 days a week. That would be the goal. But honestly, this is quite a challenge for me, for sure. I work from home. So most of my time I am on the computer working and sitting down, and I don't have a standing desk. Not that that's an excuse, totally not, but I really want to challenge myself. My husband this Christmas gifted me with those treadmills, those like mini treadmills, and I am so excited because I've been using it and I was able to get to 10K one day, but that was also because we went out and we were doing other things. And then I finished my 10K steps on the treadmill, which was amazing. And then the next day, I think I got up to like 6 or 7,000 steps, which is still okay. So I just have to plan it accordingly and give myself that time, even if I'm just walking for like 10 minutes here, another 10 minutes there. But I really want to incorporate more walking into my daily routines just because it's so good for you. Movement is so, so good for you. And then mainly because, like I said, I sit at a desk all day. So I need to get more of that body movement in. And me going to the gym, lifting weights and doing Pilates, that's just not enough. So we're gonna work on that this year. All right, that is the end of the episode. Those are all my ins and outs. And I hope this motivates you and inspires you to reflect on this past year of 2025. That way, you can truly let go of anything and everything that does not make a positive impact in your life. That's the whole point. That way, you can bring forth what does in 2026. So if you haven't done that yet, get out a pen and paper, or even just get out your notes from your iPhone or your notes from your Android, and just write, what are you letting go of and what are you bringing in? What are things that you want to work on? What are things that didn't work in 2025 but you want to improve and challenge yourself to do better this year? You do not have to be perfect. Take baby steps and just trust the process. This is going to be such a great year. Trust that and trust in yourself, and I promise it'll be amazing. And that is it for our first episode of 2026. I will see you in the next one. And as always, don't forget to be mindful because who you are from within will attract from the out. See you in the next episode. Bye.